Okay, welcome everybody back to Steve Talks Boxing X, STBX. And this week we are going to be talking about this fight, which is this Saturday's super lightweight clash between Josh Taylor and Jack Catterall. And joining me this week is ex-Twitter legend Rob BoxingShrew. Welcome, Rob. Thanks for coming on to the show.
Thanks for having me back, mate. Really enjoyed it last time. I can't believe it's been nearly 6 months since I last came on.
Wow. 6 months doing this. Wow.
Yeah.
Time
mental.
flies when you're making YouTube videos, doesn't it?
I know, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Have you recovered?
How are you? You okay?
Yeah, I'm well, thank you. I was going to say, have you recovered from the Fury Usyk fight yet? Or is it still
incredible,
fresh?
wasn't it? Yeah. So everyone's talking about it. Just two top heavyweights going at it, wasn't it? I actually thought it was quite close compared to maybe some people who thought Usyk was a little bit wider. I had Usyk a couple of rounds, but I think if that 114, 113 went to Fury in the end, I don't think too many people would have complained. Round 9 was just an iconic moment, wasn't it? That people talk about
believe
forever.
It. I thought the ref's going to stop it. The ref's going to stop it. He didn't.
Any other fighter, I feel like they would have done. I feel the fact that I'd like to hope that Usyk would have got the same privilege as champion as well. Not sure. But yeah,
because the fact it was undisputed on the line, maybe the ref was a bit more lenient, I'm guessing.
Yeah, given the opportunity to a champion to have a 10 count or an 8 standing 8, I think Fury's earned that right, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think Steve Bunt said it was pillow to post. It was pretty much battered, and that probably
incredible, wasn't it? Absolutely incredible moment.
That sums it up. Okay, let's go back to this fight then, the Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall. My first question to you, let's cut the crap straight away. Who won that first fight?
Jack Catterall. I think you could present that fight to an alien who's never watched boxing before, and I think he would tell you that Jack Catterall won that fight. It was just so bad, wasn't it, the decision? Even now, people still talk about it. I mean, it's right up there in terms of worst robberies in a British ring, right?
Yeah, I've got a quote from Johnny Nelson. I picked it up earlier. He said, "It's decisions like this which turn casual fans off." And I think that probably summed it up quite right. Sometimes I don't agree with Johnny Nelson, some of the things he says, but on that occasion, I'll probably do. So it was a stinker. The scoring of it, Ian John Lewis was downgraded by the British Boxing Board after. He scored it 114, 111. To Taylor. Is that the right decision to be? Obviously, he got in trouble for that.
I'm shaking my head now. It's 2 years ago. It's crazy.
You can't believe
it is ridiculous. And you think the knockdown, the point deduction, like how does that happen?
How did he score at 114, 111? So that's 3 rounds.
Well, it's 5 without the knockdown and the
without knockdowns. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and the point, isn't it? So. Yeah, just incredible. Maybe influenced by the crowd because it was a hostile Scottish crowd, and it was Taylor's homecoming, wasn't it? No one expected Catterall to put on the performance he did, but yeah, to be struck off. I'm not a big fan of referees being struck off and never to be seen again. I feel like everyone's due a mistake, but it was a bloody big one, wasn't it? And I think it was the right decision. Having him off a few shows.
Yeah, I've got some stats here of the fight of punches thrown and landed. So if you look at Catterall, 357 landed 166 to Taylor's landed 85. He threw 255. So that is just it's there, isn't it?
Punch stats can be difficult to interpret when you look at a total, because if you break them into 12, it's not 12 equal portions of that number. But yeah, I mean, it's clear to see. I like the percentages that they use. It's just everything pointed towards Catterall winning it. I think the body language at the end, just your gut instinct as well. Everything just pointed at Catterall, and I think when they started reading out the cards, I started thinking, you dare, and look at the reaction.
Lo and behold, it happened.
Look at the reaction.
The reaction. It was pretty unbelievable. You're actually going to the fight this Saturday at the Leeds First Direct Arena. First, you mentioned the first fight was on home soil, OVO Hydro in Glasgow. Do you think this will make much of a difference?
maybe. I think the crowd might be a bit more split.
Mhm.
I think they picked because when they first picked Leeds, I thought it was quite a random venue because I thought maybe if they're having it in certainly in England, I thought that maybe the O2 or
Mhm.
Manchester,
Yeah, like
the big
a
arenas. But
neutral. Yeah.
yeah, Leeds threw me a bit, but the arena's really good. Obviously Josh Warrington's fought there quite a lot. I watch a lot of darts, and the atmosphere there is generally pretty good. It's quite sort of amphitheatre like, a bit like the arena in Dublin.
Yeah.
And I think it will create a brilliant noise. And I would imagine that the crowd will probably be 50-50, right?
Yeah. That was my next question to you, Rob. What split would you see it? You see it 50-50 Catterall to Taylor then, do you?
It's hard to say, isn't it? Because it went on general sale. It
Mhm.
wasn't like Lee Wood and Josh Warrington, where they literally had a Wood area and a Warrington area. But I think it'd be split. I think there might be more Scots in there. They travel well, don't
Yeah.
they?
You never know. You got well. You can
Mm,
update us when you're there, Rob.
of
Perhaps. So
course.
see what feel do you get for that.
Yeah.
Talking of the fan base, do you think Josh Taylor's lost a lot of fans with everything, with the delay, that
Mm.
all the stuff he's been saying? Do you think he's lost a few fans there?
Use an understatement. I mean,
Hmm.
I was a massive Josh Taylor fan. I was a big advocate for him in his sort of road to undisputed. I thought when he went to Vegas and beat Ramirez behind closed doors, I thought it was an
Hmm.
absolute travesty that a British broadcaster didn't pick that up. I
Yeah.
thought it was terrible.
Yeah.
For
Terrible.
an
Yeah.
undisputed fight. Can you
Hmm.
imagine if British broadcaster had gone and followed
Yeah.
Fury at the weekend? Like, it just
Hmm.
wouldn't have happened. But the way he's handled it, the way he's treated Jack Catterall online, he knows what the score was.
Yeah. 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 So he's probably lost a few fans, but maybe regaining, depending on this fight result, maybe.
Well, the one thing I will say to Josh Taylor about Josh Taylor is he's taken the fight at the original weight, which I
Mm,
thought, he looked very, very tight at the weight 2 years
yeah.
ago. And
Hmm.
so I think he wanted to not have that as an excuse for people if
Excuse.
he goes and
Hmm.
beats Catterall. They
Yeah.
can't say, oh, well, you had it at 147, of course you were going to beat him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair enough. We've obviously waited a long time after the original rematch date was also pushed back. Do you think the buzz has gone a bit from the fight fans in this fight?
No,
No.
absolutely not. I think if anything, it's bigger.
Hmm. Do you think they're going to reignite this hatred toward each other? We're going to see it at the press conference, and he's going to
I don't think they
reignite
need
this
to
again.
reignite it. It never went away.
No, true.
I
Well,
think,
even on the social media between them, I'm guessing. So
yeah, I
that
think
that
this
didn't
week will
really
gather
end.
real momentum.
Hmm.
A
Yeah.
bit like Brook and Khan, it's quite quiet in the build-up. There've been a
Hmm.
few big fights around it. Obviously, you got Fury who's sick the weekend before. But I think this week will gather real momentum. By Saturday night, it'll be huge.
Yeah. Sure. I was
What do you
going to
think?
say, yeah, exactly the same. I was going to say these guys, part of the build-up is probably they genuinely don't like each other, do they? Really? So
No.
we've seen that. So that sort of adds to the fight, doesn't it? The interest to the fight when you see grudge matches, take place. What do you think? It is personally, I think it's genuine, that the hate towards each other.
Yeah. I
And
feel
hate's a
like,
strong word.
yeah, maybe it's a professional hate. I don't think
Mhm.
they're never going to be friends. But it's just Jack Catterall lost out on undisputed millions on, he could have gone and fought Lopez at MSG. Just just an awful, awful stroke of
Mhm.
luck for him, and what it could have led to. So there is that injustice, and I think injustice can make people quite bitter. And I think that Jack Catterall has been quite bitter at times, and rightfully so. I think any of us would be. But Josh Taylor's jumped on that, and he's wound him up. And like I said earlier, he knows deep
Mhm.
down what happened.
Yeah.
I speak to a lot of Scottish boxing fans on Twitter, and again, they all say, "Look, he had a lucky night, Josh."
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. Taylor is now 33 years old, obviously, like you mentioned earlier, maybe tight at the weight. Have we seen the best of Josh Taylor now, do you think?
I think so. It's hard because, I mean, he could come out looking amazing. Seems to have picked up a lot of injuries. This was it an eye injury that that is delayed this time around as well.
Yeah.
Are his best days behind him? Probably. Lopez gave him a beating, didn't he?
Yeah. I was going to go on.
Catterall gave him a beating, but look how that ended.
That's true. I was going to go on to Tio Lopez as my next question. Obviously, that fight, the first fight was back in 22. Josh Taylor fought Tio Lopez, lost. It's not the greatest form or activity going into this fight, is it, really, when you look at that?
No, it's really not. And the way that Lopez gave him a bit of a pasting, yeah, it's not good form. But it's like Liverpool Everton in the Premier League. Does form really matter when you go into this kind of grudge match? It doesn't matter, does it?
No, I suppose it's just how you turn up on the day, isn't it? Really.
So Khan as well. I know I used it earlier, but that's another example. They were both quite inactive. I hadn't really fought anybody for a good while, and it was fireworks while it lasted, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's sure. That is true. But in effect, probably Taylor's going into, if you count the Catterall fight as a loss, probably like 2 losses in a row, really, isn't it? So
yeah.
That's the kind of form he's bringing.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Catterall's last win was over Linares, who's obviously he's a boxing legend. Linares, he fought lots of good fights. That's the wrong photo.
Yeah.
But how much can you look into that?
Well, obviously, it's a confidence booster having Linares on your record. It's pretty easy. I actually thought that maybe you could have took him out of there.
Yeah.
Given the trajectory of Catterall compared to Linares, who lost probably 5 or 7 off the top of my head, maybe before that. So a little bit disappointed, but he's been active-ish, hasn't he, compared to Josh?
Yeah, I suppose Linares. I think he pretty much retired straight after that fight. So you don't really know how much he was there, how much he had to give, really.
Yeah.
And not taking anything away from Catterall, but obviously, but you can look into that, I guess, your own way.
Yeah.
Both fighters are southpaws. Sometimes they don't make the best of fights, do they? We saw a bit scrappiness in the first one, maybe in the first fight. What do you think?
Not expecting fight of the year, mate. I'm really not. But saying that, sometimes you get an absolute classic. Got Oppenheimer and Bradis the first time around, it was great, and the second one wasn't really that great until about round 10. So maybe we'll get the other way around when it's a bit of needle and it's personal. Form and plans can go out the window, can't they?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think? Do you think it'd be good?
I see it being scrappy again. To be honest with you, if you re-look the first fight, there's scrappy, lots of holding, hitting. I can see that. I think obviously Catterall would be pumped up. Imagine Taylor would be pumped up because obviously he's got a point to prove as well. So
I think it might be cagey as a result of that, then, because Catterall will be terrified to lose again, and Taylor will be so terrified to lose again.
Maybe the first couple of rounds, it may be cagey. I think maybe it may take a bit of the crowd, maybe to give it a good raw, couple of good shots, and then you think, hang on, okay, I can win this. I'm getting into a fight here. So I can imagine, like you said, both. They don't want to lose. Obviously, Catterall doesn't want to lose at this stage of his career. He can bounce back, but certainly Josh Taylor doesn't want to lose here because
he's done, isn't he? He's absolutely done.
It'd be hard. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he looks like on the scales as well. Come weigh-in day Friday. I know sometimes he looks tight anyway. So with the
well, one thing I have heard, and this comes from good authority, is he's training like a beast and he looks brilliant, and that he's actually made the weight much healthier this time. I think having a longer camp because of the eye, it hasn't actually stopped him training, so perhaps that will help Taylor, just being devil's advocate on his behalf, really.
Yeah, and you got to think there was probably a lot of rumours going around with weight issues as well, wasn't there? They were saying he was out drinking and stuff like that. I don't know how much to look into that. So
I don't know, that press conference. He
yeah,
it didn't feel like he'd been drinking water. Well,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, maybe he had a couple shandies maybe before, but yeah, you don't know how to look into that. It's almost like Ryan Garcia sort of type. So
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Okay, yeah, that's a whole new subject on its own, isn't it? Really. So, but yeah, I think it'd be interesting come Friday, both from the scales. Let's see how Josh looks. I think that could be an indicator. You know what kind of fight we're going to see. Talking about the fight itself, I don't want your prediction just yet, Rob, but I know we briefly spoke about it. But how do you see the fight going?
We touched on it there. I think it'll start cagey. I think there will be moments where they trade off, and I think Taylor's ring rust and what he has left will certainly be tested. He got knocked down in the first fight, remember? That was 2 years ago before he got dismantled by Lopez.
Yeah.
So I feel you didn't want a prediction, so I got to be careful.
Yeah, just not yet. Just not yet.
Yeah, I think it will develop into a bit of a scrap, maybe mid rounds, and I don't think it'll go the distance.
Not the distance. Wow.
I don't think
You've
so.
gone against my prediction. Okay, hit me with it, Rob.
That's good. That's boxing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Crunch time. What is your prediction for the fight? Go on, hit me with it now.
I think Catterall will win again, and I don't think he'll let the judges decide this time. I just don't think he would allow it to get to that stage. I might be wrong. Yeah, I think he might take him at around 9 or 10.
9 or 10, so kind of late stoppage.
I think Josh will tire. That's the thing, just because it's been 2 years since he was really gaunt at the weight, and whether he's made it healthily or not, it's still the weight.
Yeah.
He should have been a 147 fighter a long time ago.
Yeah. You think that weight aspect is a big
accumulation of it, really, with his age and his inactivity, his injuries. I feel like when he gets to like 8, 9, 10, I feel like the shots are going to register much more, because Catterall's not really a concussive puncher, is he? But he throws in bunches, and I think if he does, knock him down, I think he will finish him off this time.
Sure. See, I agree with you. Yeah, well, I agree with you on the end result of the fight. I think Catterall will win, but I think it will be points, and I think it would be the right points this time on the cards. So
I'll probably be sweeter for Jack, wouldn't it? It probably would be sweeter.
Yeah, it kind of be, or he win when Josh Taylor looked like he's winning the fight, and he win on a split decision or something like that. So quite, ironic, really. So if that happened, but no, I see it, Catterall, a wider points, like 3-4 rounds this time.
Josh Taylor's favourite with a bookie still.
Is he? Oh wow! Yeah. I've not looked at odds
close.
For this, right?
Yeah, it's close, but I think you can double your money on Jack Catterall.
Oh wow, that's interesting, because I know it is a hard fight to call, isn't it? Really, like I said, there's been such a long gap between the original rematch, when everyone knows Catterall won. It's hard to say, isn't it? Really, so
it's an absolute disaster. Taylor wins, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
In a way, not for him. If he goes and gets a win and deserves it, fair enough. But I was just thinking, to the injustice, if you've lost so cruelly. I don't know if you remember Paul Smith when he went to fight Arthur Abrahams in Germany. Clearly won the first fight. Oh yeah,
that was a scandal.
And then in the second fight, he just wasn't as good, and Abrahams fairly beat him. I just hope something like that doesn't happen again, because it just doubles the injustice, doesn't it?
Maybe that's what the bookies, they just don't know then, really. So to me, it is, like I said, we're putting these predictions down now, and then could be completely wrong. Come Saturday, you see, Josh Taylor blow Matt in 3-4 rounds or something like that.
Hey, mate, I always use this as an example. The worst prediction I ever had was against Josh Taylor. I predicted O'Hara Davis would beat him, so what do I know?
There you go then. So yeah, obviously we stick our necks on the line with these predictions anyway. So, but like I said, it's boxing. We know that now. Rob, we've been following it for years. Anything can happen, can't it? Really. So anything can change the fight. Well, I was going to go on to the undercard now. Any standout fights on the undercard there for you, Rob?
Only the chief support, really. I think there's quite a few prospects on there, but for me, the Chev Clark,
Yeah.
Ellis Zorro fight for the
Yeah.
British cruiserweight, only because there's been this narrative on Chev Clark being the mandatory for so long for Isaac Chamberlain. He's been gate crashing interviews, making a lot of noise. His team have been making a lot of noise, and fair enough, he's mandatory. So obviously there was the debacle with Boxer, and I nearly swore, but these bloody purse bids.
Yeah.
Just another absolute joke. And Chamberlain vacated. So I'm glad Chev's getting his shot, because if you're mandatory, you shouldn't have to deal with all that BS, should you?
No.
And Zorro, I mean, Zorro, it's take your pick on how he turns up. I mean, he got off tired, didn't he? In Saudi, absolutely panned. Takes a lot out of you, doesn't it, when you get knocked out in a round like that?
Yeah, I must admit I've got a soft spot for Chev Clark as well. So he seems like a nice guy out the ring as well, doesn't he? So
yeah, it's weird because on the podcast with Alex, I've had not my sort of critics of Chev Clark, but there's just always been something. I couldn't quite put my finger on with him. I'm not sure. I just feel like once he mixes it with the big boys in the division, I think he might struggle. But
when he steps up, you think in class, then
and there's no real valid reason for it. It's just a feeling. If he beat, I expect him to beat Ellis Zorro. Would I have expected him to beat Chamberlain? I don't know, but
it's different.
I guess we'll never know. But good luck to him. Like I said, he's a nice guy. It's not personal. It's just a feeling I've got. If he steps up to sort of European and fringe world level, I think he might get found out. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think European is always a good test. First of all, isn't it? So
it could be Chamberlain, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it could be. Yeah. So and that obviously, if you can't make it European, you're never going to make it at Worlds. But another fight I picked up on the undercard there, Donovan versus Ritson. I thought that was quite a good one for.
Yeah, it's a good fight. Yeah, Donovan's picked up a good few wins on the matchroom cards of late, hasn't he? And looked very exciting doing it. Was he on the Katie Taylor undercard? One of the Katie Taylor undercards?
I think so. Yeah.
Just very, very exciting. Obviously, we know what Ritson's about. Yeah, Ritson had that great run, didn't he, a couple of years ago? So when the British title, he was just steamrolling everybody. But since he moved up, he's had a few losses, and he's lost his way. I fully expect Donovan to do the job, but bit of a changing of the guard kind of fight. But I like these fights where a good British level fighter comes up against one of the new kids on the block.
Yeah, I think Ritson's still got a bit to offer, but I think Donovan would be too much. I think he's pretty hot at the moment, so prospect wise as well. Moving on, before you go, always ask my guests a couple ending questions, and this one is for a couple of weekends away. It's the 5 versus 5. How excited are you for that, Rob?
Yeah, very excited. I mean, I won't go into the Saudi thing. I think I've made my sort of opinions on having it all out in Saudi Arabia pretty public on Twitter. But if you're just looking just at the boxing, I mean, look what happened Saturday night. These sort of fights aren't really happening without the backing, unfortunately, at the minute.
Without the money,
the financial backing, not all this vision that they keep saying they have. But the 5v5 is brilliant. You're probably going to ask me where I've got my sort of scores. How do you want to do it? Do you want to go through the fights individually? And then
we're not quite there yet, but I was going to say, out of the 5 fights, what's your favourite? What do you think is going to be the best one out of them 5?
Wow.
You can have 2. I'll let you have 2, Rob.
I mean, the thing is that any of them could steal the show.
Really?
Okay. Any of them. I think that the obvious one would probably go to Ray Ford and Nick Ball.
Yeah.
I think. But I've got this funny feeling that something spectacular is going to happen between Wilder and Zhang. How can it not?
Really? A lot of people have gone the other way, though. They're saying out of all them fights, that could be maybe the stinker of the fights. Maybe they're both.
Look at Wilder's highlight reel and look at Zhang's. Wins over Jones.
Well. it's whether the conditions there with obviously both of them. I'm guessing if they can, if this fight goes on, say past 5 rounds, are they going to be hugging each other for the next, for the rest of the fight? So for me,
and at world level, if the loser is done, they're done. They've just both got beat by Joseph Parker, pretty convincingly as well. They're done if they lose. So
that's it. Both of them, isn't it? It's a must win, because obviously you look at Zhang's age, or even Wilder's age as well. You just can't carry on at a high level.
No.
Expecting that. It's definitely.
What do they say? The last thing that leaves you is your power and
your power. So your prediction on that one, then, hit me with a quick prediction on.
I'm going to say Wilder. The reason for that is because I think Zhang is not going to get in and out of range like Parker did. I think he's going to be standing there and he's going to get hit. Hrgovic dropped him, and I wouldn't consider his power to be remotely anywhere near what Wilder's got. And I think if Wilder lands on Zhang, I think he'll struggle to stay up. So I can see why Wilder and Matchroom have gone with Wilder as the captain. Especially with this point system of double points for KOs. I think that's a good decision to go with Wilder as captain.
Yeah, see, me and Darren Aston, we had this conversation about the captain thing, and we
shout out Darren, nice to meet you.
Yeah, shout out to Darren Aston as well. Yeah, always. But we come to the conclusion that Wilder was captain because it was like an ego thing. He wants to be the captain at the 5. We thought there's more to it than maybe taking the chance on Eddie, thinking, I want double points on this. We thought maybe Wilder had a more say to it, saying, I'll go with you. I want to be captain, maybe, perhaps.
Maybe. I mean, I thought he was bloody lucky to get picked anyway, because he's not really a matchroom fighter, is he?
No.
No. I thought that was a real wild card when I heard about him being on the list a few weeks before. Don't know. I mean, who else would you pick potentially as a banker for Matchroom? I mean, it's tough, isn't it? Ray Ford? Ray Ford's a tough fight. It's a ball, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah.
Would you go Hrgovic?
I would say perhaps out of them, because Shiraz versus Williams, that's a 50-50 for me. Even Hutchinson versus Richardson's.
Who's Queensbury's captain? Is it Shiraz?
Yes.
See, I don't think that's a bad pick.
They've gone against Ammo Williams. That's going to be a shootout, surely. So, they're taking a chance on that.
Well, that's why it's 5v5 is their best versus their best, isn't it?
Yeah,
different levels,
so.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The fact we can't even decide between ourselves.
No,
that's great, isn't it?
Well, next week's show, me and Darren, and we're going to go for it. I'm going to score each fight. So I'm going to put you on the spot now, Rob. I don't know how quick your maths are. Obviously, I think
that's
it's
fine.
A point.
Are we just doing it as a 3-2?
Yeah, and then double points for captains and stuff like that. So Matchroom or Queensbury, who wins?
I'm going to have to figure it out in my head now. Can we quickly go through? Well, I've got Wilder. So there's one. Ray. I think Nick Ball will beat Ray Ford. So that's 1-1. I think Willie Hutchinson will beat Spider Richards. So that's like 2-1 to Queensbury.
It depends on those, Rob.
I think Hrgovic will beat Dubois. Unfortunately, I'd love Dubois to beat him, but so that's that 2-2. And then what's the swing fight there? What have I missed? Hamza Shiraz and Williams. I think Hamza Shiraz will win. So what's that? 3-2 to Queensbury. But that would double Wilder's points. So that's 3-3. So then it all comes down to who gets the most knockouts. So that's probably my best answer.
Yeah. So you're saying it's going to be close, basically.
Yeah, I think if I just had to put a fiver on one or the other, I think I'd go Queensbury. Even though I predicted Wilder to win by KO, I think they'll pick up points elsewhere.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of swing fights there, like Ray Ford could beat Nick Ball, couldn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, you can say about most of them.
I wonder how they're going to do it as well. I wonder if we're going to have a on-screen graphic of Matchroom points,
like a football game.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? I've been accused of being Matchroom FC, Queensbury FC for about 2 years on Twitter. So now you can actually be one or the other.
It's time. Well, we saw it last weekend with the Fury fans and the Usyk fans. Major split. I'm all for boxing. I like both fighters.
Yeah.
I've never been a Matchroom or Queensbury biased, but it's good for boxing, isn't it? Really. So
Mate, I only have to mention the word Matchroom, and I'm a
and then you
Matchroom
accuse.
FC. Oh.
Yeah. Well, I'm not being bad, Rob. You are going to the fight on Saturday, isn't that Matchroom fight?
Yeah, I go to more Queensbury fights than I do Matchroom. I actually do.
Yeah, there you go then. There you go. So,
And as for boxer,
yeah, exactly. That's for boxer. Well, I'll probably be into more boxer shows. So I don't know.
No one's ever called me Wasserman FC. I'm a bit disappointed.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you can't be accused of that anyway. I don't favour any promoter. I'm there for the boxing. I'm there for the fights. I want the best fights, really. So as all boxing fans do, really, regardless of promoter, whoever backing them anyway. But that's pretty much it for this week's show. Really appreciate your time, Rob, for coming on.
Pleasure as always, mate.
Really
you're welcome
great.
to come on the podcast as well whenever you like, mate. Just give us a shout and you'd be more than welcome.
Yeah, I think I was talking to Alex about that as well. So that's definitely one for the future to line up.
Get him on here. Get Alex the Box on this show.
He's definitely on the way. I just got to look at a new boxing schedule, some new fights, and then he's definitely on.
York Hall, please. Alex was born in York Hall. I don't know if you know.
No, I didn't know that.
No, I'm joking. He spends enough time there. He loves York Hall. So there you go. When there's a York Hall show, mate, get him on. He'll talk your ears off.
That's a good opening question anyway, isn't it, really? So, but yeah, really appreciate your time, Rob. Enjoy the fights on Saturday. Obviously, you're going to the fight. Please, obviously, everyone out there, support the channel as best you can with likes, subscriptions, comments below as well. Let me know what you think on the comments below, who's going to win the fight as well. But thanks again, Rob, and enjoy the fights.
Cheers. Thanks, mate.